Are you fed up with social media? Do you know that it's a distraction from your real life and really just a waste of time? Maybe you are thinking that, but you're afraid to admit it. After all, how could we stay connected without social media? Everyone tells us that no matter how distracting or polarizing it can be, we need social media today. I'm here to tell you that you do not need social media, and there are two options that you can choose from to put social media in its proper place in your life. And yes, one of those options might just be to leave. Stay tuned and let's talk about social media in the life of a mom. So, every week inside Simply Convivial Continuing Education, I hop on camera, invite all the members in. They are chatting in the chat box, and I am talking to them just like I'm talking to you now, except it's live, so it's more fun. We call them mentoring sessions inside membership. And this last one was supposed to be a recap and a wrap up of our new course that we've just been working through together, Restful Routines. But someone made a comment about the big win that she had while working through the course was realizing that she could and would step away from social media in her life because it was not serving as the break that she had been telling herself it was, but that it was actually a distraction and not serving her well. So I might have gotten a little bit sidetracked on that comment because I myself have been off of Facebook for 4 years now, and recently also left Instagram. So it's a topic I've wrestled through myself, and I'm here to tell you that it is actually possible to live an engaged, socially connected life without Facebook or Instagram. So I went on a tiny little rant about social media, and I thought that I would share a clip of that here on YouTube because maybe you can relate, and maybe you have been thinking about this and wondering if it would actually be possible to eliminate your time on social media, not cut it back, but eliminate it. And I'm here to give you that permission if that's what you needed, or to just talk about maybe why you would eliminate it or at least reserve it for specific designated intentional tasks and not use it as a break because it does not serve you as a break. You will not return to your real life refreshed. And I'm about to go off on the rant again. So let's clip right to that excerpt and talk about social media in your life. Latoya's working on a Facebook, Instagram exit plan for her business now. That's big. Like I understand how big that is. Maybe we need a channel in Convivial Circle for how to not be on social media while still running a business. We could do that. And it's not like I have all the answers, but I do have no social media now. So I know not everyone, has a business, but most of us have some kind of pressure to be on social media, whether it is just the way things are done for running a business, for being in a co-op, for family pressures, perhaps. There are all kinds of social pressures to being on social media of some kind. And it It's not like there aren't consequences when you don't play by those social norms. But having been off Facebook for like 3 or 4 years now and off Instagram for 2 or 3 months, there's more lie than truth in the common advice that you have to be on social media for X, Y, or Z. It is completely possible to live a social, involved life without them. And you actually, I think, you have fewer engagements perhaps with certain people, even people that you want to be involved with. Like, I see fewer pictures of my nieces and nephew now. Like, that's my biggest sad thing. I know that more pictures are shared than I see. And so I'm missing out on those. When they do share one, it's with me and I can respond personally and directly. And when I remember that I'm missing out on those, I can send a message directly. And it's still, going to be a text message. It's not going to be a phone call. But the interactions that we end up having, I think, are a higher quality. And personally, I would rather have fewer higher quality interactions with the people that I care about than a lot of just surface level, hit the like button and move on, and just have it be kind of that background hum where I'm actually seeing those photos or having those interactions at a time when I probably ought to be doing something else, right? Because that's the real bummer. Or the reality is that we're on social media usually when we ought to be doing something else. That's a part of the draw of the app, and it's the way they're designed. And you learn this, especially if you are involved on a business angle or a promotional angle, and you read about, how to do it, then you start realizing how the entire system, including all of the people telling you that you need to be on for this, that, or the other reason, is all to manipulate people to do something that is not actually good for them. It's not actually good to spend hours on social media. It is not good to just fill your mind with a bunch of images that make an impression, but then we don't really think about it or take action. It's not very healthy, really. And that's convicting, but it's so much better without it. And I now firmly believe that it is impossible to have meaningful conversation on Facebook. And it used to not be the case on Instagram, but this year, it just seemed like even comments on Instagram took on that Facebook flavor, where it's just not helpful. It's extremist or polarizing or political. Everything has to be political, and just not helpful. And I want to have, like, the whole point of social engagement for myself is to have conversation with people that's beneficial and helpful and upbuilding, edifying for them and for me. And I just was not seeing that actually happening. When you leave little comments and that are supposed to be interesting or engaging or maybe a different perspective or whatever, and you get immediately jumped on, that ends up shutting down conversation. When all of the masking, whether or not you wear a mask with COVID, just as an example, I mean, there was no reasonable conversation happening on Instagram. Everything was one way or the other, and no actual discussion anyway, just as one example. I was like, you know what? I am done. And so a place like Convivial Circle, I think, does not have that. I hope it doesn't have that. I don't think it does. Where we can be actually engaged in one another's lives. We get it. We're invested. We're interested. And it's helpful. And it's same thing with School A Sisters, where the sistership, it's not just having people who think the same thing. It's about people who are interested in the topics being discussed and invested in them and having that motivation of being actually helpful to one another. So anyway, this was not supposed to be a rant on social media, but yeah, Rebecca says, pretty much anytime I'm reaching for social media, I know what I actually need is a reset. Yeah. And the apps are just designed to suck you in and it is tied to a habit because a habit is set up with cue or trigger, then action and reward. And so it's designed to grab a hold of that quickly. And we know that bad habits are much faster and stronger to build than good ones. But it's meant to have that, like, I need a distraction. I just, feel agitated, or I feel frustrated, or I feel bored, or, all of those emotions get quickly tied to the quick fix is social media. It's intentionally designed to grab a hold of those emotions and turn them into a habit for the app. And as my husband likes to say, if you aren't paying for it, you are the product, not the customer. Your eyeballs there are what is giving that company, is how they are making money, just by having you in there. And we saw that with, I was on Instagram before there were ads on Instagram, and the change and the shift has been dramatic. And it's been one of those frog boiling things, because I saw the whole rollout and there were none. And now it's it just seems like every other post or whatever. And they're made more and more to look like content. So, but they aren't. So anyway, it is hard to cut those ties. But I think that some of the habits in restful routines can help, whether you want to cut social media off entirely and replace it with something else. I mean, technically, Convivial Circle or Sistership are social media, but not in the same way. They're not Facebook-like social media, because they're here to serve you, right? You're paying for that. It shifts that whole thing where we aren't trying to squeeze everything out of you, which it feels like Facebook and Instagram are, where that eyeball time, and just fill it with, what's going to be prioritized and shown in that case is tailored to keeping you there and sucking you in. Whereas the private communities, it's just there. It's actual conversation. It's not, well, you're going to see this and not this because of this about what we know about your behavior and your habits. It's here's conversation. Choose and take part like an actual normal human being. So I don't think of it in the same category as social media, even though broadly speaking it is, because it's not advertisement driven, it's not algorithm driven, and the point behind it is not maximizing your eyeball time. That's where we need to be careful. When we know, it's the same thing as at the grocery store, right? Those same principles where they know that if they put it on an end cap, or they put it where you're checking out and there's all the science that definitely goes into it of if it needs to be at this level and in this spot in the store, and then we'll sell more of them because they just put it front and center and they know where your eyes are going to fall, and you land and they know, that's just marketing. And social media is just that kind of manipulation on steroids. So we need to be aware of that. And so whether, even if we stay on for particular reasons, that we put it in boundaries and that we don't count it as a break, because it isn't. It is not accomplishing anything that a real break accomplishes. It is not accomplishing rest. It is a distraction, or it's business, because there's a reason for you to be there to accomplish something. So, if you have a particular group that you need to be a part of for scheduling purposes or whatever, then that becomes the same as a phone call that you need to make. It's in that category where we need to have this is where I'm doing here, and where we stop using it as that habit response when we feel the need for a distraction. We need to start recognizing in ourselves that need for a distraction and build in healthier ways of dealing with it, which a lot of times, like we learned in the sprint module, is going to be just pushing through. Because I think that's where we, as modern people, used to conveniences and used to instant gratification, we don't get enough practice in pushing through discomfort. But if you look at any kind of long-term worthwhile pursuit, learning an instrument, sports, these different things where we recognize the value of training and perseverance, they all have points of discomfort. There's excitement to get started. There's a meaningful goal to achieve at the end. There's interest and variety in building skills. But even so, it's not cake. It's not a cakewalk. It's not easy. There is a need. You're not going to become good at it until you are able to keep going when you feel bored with it. That's just a small clip of our mentoring session that we had this last week. And I hope it was encouraging, maybe thought-provoking for you. If you are interested in participating in our mentorship community just for Christian homemakers, then go to simplyconvivial.com and click the green enroll button up in the corner, and you will learn all that we have in store for you, including meaningful online connection and conversation with like-minded women, where there are no advertisements, no algorithms, and it is not designed to just suck you in. It is designed to build you up and encourage you and edify you to walk in the responsibilities that God has given you with faithfulness. Our goal is to stir one another up to more love and good works. If that's what you need, and that's what you really want from your social media, but you're not finding it, go to simplyconvivial.com and click the green enroll button to find out how to join us. Or there's a link down below. And while you're going down below to find that link, make sure that you hit the subscribe button while you're at it, because I'm also right here on YouTube every week with a small bite-sized bit of encouragement and edification for Christian homemakers just like you. And remember, repent, rejoice, repeat, on social media or anywhere else.